Hey, you. I'm sure by now you all know what teeth are. In my last video, we went on a wonderful journey into Tooth Fairy, She's Come to Collect, this absolute masterpiece of a movie made by Champ Dog Film. That movie, if you haven't watched the video yet, followed a family haunted by this evil creature known as Tooth, which, by the way, I looked it up. Apparently that was the original name of the movie before they changed it to Tooth Fairy, so... Awesome. In that video, I also mentioned if enough people wanted me to, I would take a look at the other 4 movies in the franchise. Because there are 4 more movies in the franchise. Unfortunately for me, you guys seem to love it, so here we are. Yay! As I mentioned in the last video, I was terrified of the Tooth Fairy growing up. You mean to tell me there's this weird mystical creature coming into my house every night to like see if I have teeth under my pillow and then take them? And I should just be cool with that? How did it get inside? What is it using the teeth for? Why are they valuable enough to the Tooth Fairy that he's paying me for it? These questions need to be answered, man. Anyways, of course, that got me thinking, what if there's movies about it? And I made a monumental discovery. This is akin to Christopher Columbus discovering America, or that dude from Atlantis discovering Atlantis. And this discovery, as you guys know by now, is that there's not one movie in this franchise, you silly you. There's 5. There's 5 whole movies in this franchise. You can count them on my fingers. All dedicated to this story, right? And I mean, who can blame them? It's an absolute masterpiece. These blockbusters smash everything out of the water. John Carpenter, eat your heart out. We've got a new horror icon in town, and she's taking names. Or should I say taking teeth? Now you might be wondering, how did they make more movies? Didn't they kill the fairy at the end of the last one? And oh boy, just you wait. Okay, I'm not gonna make you wait anymore. Here's the movie. We open to a little girl laughing way past her bedtime as mom comes in and tells her to shut the phone off. And right off the bat, you'll notice that the audio is just painful.
Tammy?
You know when you're in a call with somebody with like a really shitty mic and there's that noise suppression that they use on it, so when they're not talking, there's nothing. And then when they are talking, it's like all that noise comes out. That is throughout the entire movie. The little girl, you know, being the rebel she is, doesn't shut her phone off or go to bed. Instead, she texts Kyle, who's probably gonna tell her some ominous shit like, don't look out your window. Oh. Okay, no, he said summon Tooth. Okay, so we're just going straight into it, I guess. So obviously, you know, being the daredevil she is, she's gonna do that. So she puts her phone away and lights a candle to read her book. What is this, Nosferatu? That is the 2nd time I've made a Nosferatu reference while watching these movies. I don't know. My bad. That original, man. Anyways, she starts chanting some weird shit that I can't make out due to the mic quality. And like, seriously, I have no idea what she said. Whatever, we cut to the mom who starts hearing some strange happenings in the house, and we get the dumbest fake out I've ever seen. I'm sorry, but this was really just weird. Cuts to a POV shot of her like looking down the hallway, and it just goes back and forth like 8 times. I'm not even joking, this goes on for like a full minute. And nothing happens. We just cut back to the girl at the end of it. Nothing happens. I don't know. Like, I know it was a fake out for suspense, but it went on way too long and killed all of it. We cut back to the little girl, and we get the same stupid fucking back and forth for the same amount of time on her in the bed, where she's like, look at this, she's just, for like a minute, stop! I don't know, I just have a feeling the director like just learned how to do this with the camera, and he's like, we gotta work this in here somehow. She gets freaked out because of this whole scene, and so she goes down to lay with her mom. She goes into the room, lays down with her mom, and who is that? I think that was supposed to be her dad or like a fake version of her mom. They're wearing the same clothes, right? So I think that's like a fake version of her mom. So then she flips around and she's like, then who am I laying with? And then she turns her over and, ooh, yeah, she's not looking too good. Can you imagine getting her eye poked out by a toothbrush? That probably hurt. The daughter, you know, freaking out, obviously, looks into the corner, and I think we can see the Tooth Fairy. I don't know. Like, my last main complaint before we really get into the movie is that it's so dark. And I don't mean like dark, spooky evil, like dark and twisted and fucked up and evil. I mean, just, I can't see anything. There's multiple scenes in this video that I skip because I literally don't know what's happening. Like, you'll see what I mean. She obviously noticed something in the corner, and not even joking, I think they went onto YouTube, searched horror scream, and put the first thing on there that they could find. Listen to this. I think they dubbed over the scream. Why? Just like have her scream. You have a little girl right there and the microphone, just have her scream. I don't know. Anyways, Tooth Fairy kills girl, and we get this epic, awesome, super cool, awesome title card that I've already shown in the video, so I'm gonna make it really fast. We come back onto this guy, who is actually the kid Corey from the first movie. So this would be about 20-ish years after the first movie. So in total, it's about 50 years since the original attack on the mom. Man, time really flies, huh? Apparently he's like an artist now and is coping with the tragic event of half of his family being murdered by this demon by like drawing it more. I don't know, I guess exposure therapy works. Anyways, his friend comes in and hold on. Okay, the audio does not line up. This isn't like, oh, the audio's bad or anything. The audio doesn't line up with their voice. And this isn't a dubbed movie. This movie came out of the UK. The first one wasn't like this. Like, I'm just gonna show you this clip raw and just watch their mouth.
I prefer the other thing with the bag of stones.
Like, I've seen this misalignment when a foreign film gets dubbed, but that's because they're speaking a different language. They just didn't care enough to line up the audio, I guess. And I get it, you know, amateur filmmakers, this probably wasn't made by somebody who's done this for a long time. But syncing the audio is like one of the most important and like basic steps to making something. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be so harsh on this movie. We are only 6 minutes into the movie after all. This guy Edgar tells our main dude Corey that there's this awesome party that he should come to. And Corey, being the silent loner, Chad type, you know, super mysterious, says, no man, I've got drawings to do. I need to draw this fucking fairy some more times. And Edgar says like 3 lines. He's like, yo, this girl Jess is gonna be there. And Corey's like, you didn't tell me Jess was gonna be there, dude. I'll be there right away. So Corey immediately decides that he's gonna go to the party, which that is the fastest I've ever seen somebody get convinced. Anyways, Macaulay Culkin Jr. goes to bed and starts having flashbacks of all the character deaths from the first movie that he wasn't there for. He wasn't there for any of these deaths. They show like his aunt, they show his cousins. He wasn't there for any of those. The only death he was there for was the death of his grandpa, you know, the Golden Freddy guy. And they didn't even show that in this cutscene. That's the only one that they didn't show. I can already tell this is gonna be so much worse than the first movie. Corey goes on the next morning and arrives at whatever he agreed to and meets up with the lady of his dreams, Jess. They get to talking and I seriously don't know what's up with the audio because Jess sounds fine, right? She sounds like they put a mic on her, she used the mic and it sounds totally fine. But Corey's mic sounds like he had to re-record all of his audio under a blanket at like 3 in the morning, but he had to like whisper so his mom wouldn't catch him while he's asleep. Like, listen to this.
Corey. Oh my god, it's been so long.
You just got here.
I had to rewatch some of these scenes just because I was so appalled at how bad the audio was that I wasn't paying attention to the story. Anyways, back to the story. Jess and Corey are, you know, mad flirting, right? She's obviously into him, but they get to talking about Paul. I don't know who Paul is. Apparently Corey's childhood friend that like absolutely hates his guts for unexplained reasons as of now. Well, if you were wondering where he is, we don't have to wait long because immediately we cut to Paul in his car and Paul gives us a big lore drop. Basically, Paul hates Corey because Corey didn't die to the Tooth Fairy when he was young. I'm not joking. My thing with this whole scene, right? Whatever. You know, you don't like him because your family died, personal grudge, whatever. Everybody that died in the first movie was related to Corey because it was targeting Corey's family. So unless the Tooth Fairy killed just some random person later on, I don't understand this scene at all because who did he kill? Does that mean Corey and Paul are like related somehow? I don't know. Paul super hates this guy. Like punching the dash, shouting he'll get what's coming and shit. Like he hates this guy. And he hates him because Corey survived a murder attempt. This is like hating Laurie Strode because she didn't die to Michael. Like I don't understand this plot at all. Paul pulls out this weird book, hands it to this guy and says it's got spells and shit. Actual line, by the way. And that they're gonna summon the Tooth Fairy tonight. Not much happens for a bit. We get introduced to some more people and holy fuck, they need to fire their sound guy. I genuinely cannot tell what's happening because every 5 seconds the audio is either cutting out, blasting into my ear, or just some other random issue. There are genuinely multiple scenes in this movie that are completely inaudible. Anyways, we meet some of these people, nothing happens for a bit, and we end up in the bathroom with Corey brushing his teeth. Apparently he has like toothbrush related PTSD, which to be fair, if I saw my grandpa get a toothbrush through the throat from this weird demon, I would probably be scared too, but it's still kind of funny to think. I mean, come on, it's a toothbrush, man. It's kind of funny to think about. We cut back to the party and they're all drinking, so is Corey, so like, why did he brush his teeth? I thought he was going to bed and we were gonna see him like go to bed and get attacked by the Tooth Fairy or something, but he's just at the party now. I don't know. Also, this party scene goes on for like 3 full minutes of just no cut, just them partying at a table, so awesome. We wake up the next morning to a nice little gathering around this table where we're immediately slammed with, and I quote, "Wow, that's awful. 5 people murdered last night." Or I guess if I'm being accurate to the movie, I should say I'm just gonna spoil it now. That section has literally no plot significance. Nothing happens out of that. It's never even brought up again. The only reason it's here is because Paul uses it as a segue to say, hey, you know, let's have some fun, let's party, let's summon a demon, maybe, let's summon a freaking demon. So I guess they're summoning the Tooth Fairy tonight. They all go on a walk, and we cut to Corey, who's like still asleep, and oh my god, he slept in those fucking jeans. Those weird skin-tight jeans that are like plastered to his skin, like those shoes from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Honestly, I'm at the point where I don't care what happened to him or who's in the right, I'm on Paul's side now. That is psychopath behavior. Corey walks out, and I don't even know how to describe the scene, so I'm just gonna show it to you completely unedited. I don't even have words, man. We're just gonna pretend that never happened and move on. We get way further in with nothing happening, and honestly, nothing is still happening here. They're just recounting old bar stories, and I genuinely just couldn't tell what this guy was saying and wanted to see if anybody else could.
After the results of Hazel's buffer, I might be able to look at chocolate fountains.
The best I can make out is after the results of Hazel's I ain't be able to look at chocolate incense, which... Sure. I agree. Or should I be saying sorry? I don't... We cut to later that night, and Corey's on a walk, if you can see him. And he finds something sinister. Candy canes and a straw wall. Corey starts freaking the fuck out, because, like, some weird voice starts coming into his ear. Okay. Some weird voice starts talking into his ear, right? And I guess, you know, the candy canes, it'd give you PTSD, right? But as he's freaking out in this forest, just, like, totally losing his shit, we cut back to two of the girls from the party just standing there staring at him. They just keep whispering back and forth. They're like, this dude's a freak. And the other one's like, yeah, I know, like, what is wrong with this guy? They're just staring at him, freaking out in the corner, like they don't care. They also, at the end of their insult spree, say, good thing he's gonna be gone tomorrow.
We're not gonna see him again after tomorrow. I promise.
I don't know what that means. Are they gonna murder him? I think these ladies are planning to kill the guy. Later that night, they're all back inside and they sit down for a pizza party. And in the middle of it, Corey hears that voice again and starts to freak out. So obviously his friends start assuming he's a schizo, and then 5 seconds later, they don't give a shit. They're sitting at this table like, Corey, are you okay, man? And he's like, leave me alone. So they're like, okay. And then they just start throwing a rager in the living room. Corey comes in and they go, all right, I think it's demon time. So they'll sit down to summon this demon. They're like, hey, Corey, I know you just like freaked out because you're like insane or whatever, but you want to summon a demon with us? That's definitely going to make you feel better. Anyways, in the middle of the summon, Corey hears that voice again. He starts absolutely losing his shit. He's like, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Come on, guys. Come on. He's here. But as this is all happening, they hear this weird bump. So the unnamed guy, I think his name's like Roy or something. I don't know. He doesn't matter. Goes out to check and gets sliced up by the Tooth Fairy. It immediately starts to become apparent that something strange is happening, as Paul's first suggestion is that him and Corey will go out to the shed and get weapons. The guy that he absolutely hates and despises and hasn't liked for the past 10 years. So it's probably not the real Tooth Fairy. But we do cut to this weird fish thing. Oh, no, it's the Tooth Fairy. I didn't know they were semi-aquatic. I didn't know we had Harry the Platypus. Harry the Platytooth. Paul gets grabbed, but we can tell it's a fake Tooth Fairy because, one, she didn't immediately wreck his shit like she has every other person in the first movie. But two, she's not holding a hammer or like a toothbrush. It's just like some knife, so she's clearly a phony, right? So at the end, Paul, dead guy, and the fake Tooth Fairy come in to scare Corey and wait, okay, are they actually gonna like murder him now? What the fuck is happening? Corey's tied to this chair, right? And the Tooth Fairy comes up and is like, I'm about to kill you. And she gets like inches away. And then we get the second most awkward face reveal I've ever seen. Second only to the dream face reveal.
Who are you?
I'm Danielle. I'm Paul's cousin.
I don't know. Guy comes in and tells everyone that Corey ran off into the woods and Paul's going to get him. So I genuinely think they're going to kill him. Like they're convincing the people in the house that Corey's just run away, and Corey's tied to a chair in the barn. I think they're gonna stab the guy. And yeah, Paul comes up to him with a fucking knife. Like, is this movie even about a Tooth Fairy anymore, or was this like a weird segue to show that it was just a murderer all the time? Okay, I feel kind of stupid because my question is immediately answered. The real Tooth Fairy shows up and kills the fake Tooth Fairy in the car with a floss attack. Okay, so this part's a little confusing, but from what I gather, the Tooth Fairy made fake versions of both of these two women, and then the fake versions followed the real ones. So while the red shirt girl went outside, a fake version of the other one followed her, and then inside there's a fake red shirt girl talking to the real blonde one. Cool. Also, she walks in like this.
Sound speed.
Hold on. Was that an actual sound check in the final cut of the movie?
Sound speed. Sound speed.
That was an actual sound check. That was a genuine sound check. I don't know what else it could be. It was a random man's voice. There's no men in the room in this scene. He says like check 42 or something. I don't know. He's British. I don't understand a word he says. But I think that was a genuine sound check. That is crazy. I have never seen a movie on any platform that leaves the sound checks in. Come on, guys. And why is he talking in the middle of them recording the scene and then they just keep it? They could have re-recorded it. They could have done a take 2. I don't know. But yeah, red hair guy who is named Roy. I finally confirmed it. Let's slip that Corey and Paul are in the barn, but nothing's happening. So yeah, I guess Paul's just a crazy psycho and his friend just was like, yeah, okay, you could murder him. That's cool. So back to the red shirt lady. She checks on the dead lady in the car, sees the Tooth Fairy, and fucking books it, dude. I'm honestly just really glad that a horror protagonist, even though she's like a side character, just sees the creature and sprints away. She didn't go like, don't do it, man. Don't, come on. I've got a family. She just ran. Back to Paul and Corey, we get this weirdly long interrogation scene where Paul keeps asking about the Tooth Fairy, like, what is it? Is it real? Maybe you're just insane. They keep going through this for a little while. Corey eventually runs off and gets chased down by Paul, and somehow he's absolutely covered in blood now, like head to toe covered, which in this chase sequence, he only like kind of falls over. So I don't really know why he's this bloody, but whatever. All of a sudden, the real Tooth Fairy shows up and Paul is gone? Okay, dude, if the reveal is that Paul is like secretly the Tooth Fairy, or like Paul was never real and that was the Tooth Fairy the whole time, I'm gonna be pissed because that's such a bad twist. I don't know, I hate this movie. Paul is dead in the shed. I guess the Tooth Fairy insta-killed him and teleported him back with her mystical powers. They all go in and they start running away because they see he's dead. Dude, I would have been so mad if that was the reveal. Oh my god. They all go inside and we get some expo dumping and the gang's all together. They all agree that Corey must be behind this, except for Jess, who's still on our Sea Dog side, because obviously he didn't do this. They all decide that they need to get out, so Edgar runs to the car and we get the worst distortion on a mic I've ever heard. Shit! Apparently all the cars are dead, but like, aren't they in a neighborhood? Aren't they just like chilling in a neighborhood? Why don't they just go to another house? Why don't they go next door and like knock on the door? Anyways, they all run back inside because the cars are dead and Corey starts banging on the door to let him in. Eventually they do with enough convincing from Jess. So Edgar and Roy like hold him down and they're like trying to calm him down so he doesn't murder them because they still think he's a murderer. The red-haired bitch just smacks him over the head with a bottle. Just full force knocks him out. I get that they think he's a murderer, but like they clearly had him restrained. I don't think she needed to do that. But after they knock him out, they have the genius idea to take him to the shed for some reason. I don't know why, but they lock him up there and try to get the police on the phone again. Can you imagine you're like at a house with like 5 people and paranormal shit starts happening, one of your friends dies, and like one of you thinks that it's your other friend. So you guys knock him out and lock him up in the same room that the other guy died like 5 minutes ago in. Because that's what they did. They were like, all right, we're going to lock you in this room with the dead guy that just got murdered. See ya. Anyways, Edgar and the 2 girls start running away to try to get the cops, and they take this little like expo dump break in the middle of this field. Edgar feels like super guilty because he's the reason Corey's on the trip, and the girls are like, oh, it's all right, man. It's not your fault. And as this happens, Edgar gets one tap domed to the head. Holy shit, dude, the Tooth Fairy has a Glock. Also, this is the unedited clip. There's no audio. I'm not even joking. This is completely unedited.
Oh, we can...
I still can't believe they let the movie sound this terrible. Whatever sound company they used to do this, I really hope they went bankrupt. Both girls end up trying to run, and they also get tapped by the Tooth Fairy as well. All 3 gunshots, if there were 3, there might have been more. All gunshots had 0 noise. I didn't know that the blonde one died until they panned over her dead body because they didn't have any audio for the gunshot. Anyways, we cut to Corey, and for whatever reason, the Tooth Fairy is trying to frame him. She like puts the gun in his lap after killing those three, and just leaves. As if anybody's gonna believe that he was the one that did it when he's been knocked unconscious in the barn for the past hour, still like locked in the door. Why is it fucking with him? Why doesn't it just take his teeth and leave? I don't get this part at all. We're now very clearly at the every side character dies in the movie part of the movie, because we cut to Roy taking a shower. For some reason, he's like, you know what? All my friends are dying. This is the perfect time to take a bath. I feel it'll really make me relax, you know? Like, why is he doing this? I don't know. Nothing much happens. Tooth Fairy kills him. Moving on. Nobody cared about him in the first place. We go over to final girl Jess, who starts fucking booking it after she sees the Tooth Fairy and Roy dead. This scene's kind of funny. She runs for a while and then just like randomly stops in the forest and turns her flashlight on. She doesn't know if it's still chasing her. It probably is, but she just like kind of stops and she's like, wow, what's in the trees, man? Oh shit, nope, there's more candy canes. Jess, for some reason, takes a bunch of the candy canes and puts them on as a necklace, and we just cut to the morning. Cool. Jess keeps walking, and eventually she stumbles upon the totally alive Edgar, who's definitely really alive. This Edgar doesn't really say much, just tells her to get out of here, and then just walks off. So she calls him a pussy, and then runs back to the house. I don't know why this scene was even in here. She goes into the barn and holy shit, okay, Corey is crazy after all. And you know, after seeing him sleeping in those damn jeans, I knew it. I am the biggest Corey hater. I don't trust this Macaulay Culkin looking ass for a second. Anyways, eventually Corey snaps out of it. He puts the gun down and they run back into the house. They sit down to like redo the incantation from the beginning and we get this beautiful shot.
Hey, what's up?
I cannot express to you how rough this movie is. This was actually hard to watch. The creature comes inside, Corey throws a jar of sugar on it, Jess runs off, and now it's mano y mano, or Corey y Tooth Fairy-o. Corey gets up and the Tooth Fairy fucking Undertaker choke slams him like we're watching the WWE. Like, are we watching Monday Night Raw? Okay, the rest of these scenes are really fast paced, but they're really funny, so just try to keep up. It really just feels like a Scooby-Doo skit or some shit. The fake Corey knocks on the door to ask Jess to let him in. He walks in, runs to the back. We presume to be hiding, right? Jess slowly turns around. It's the Tooth Fairy holding a rope going like, what? And then she's like, oh shit, dude. So she runs out the door. And it's so funny. Tooth grabs her, but then the real Corey comes in to save the day and smacks her ass with a bottle, and she goes down. Jess randomly shouts, Ranu. Ranu! And I'm not even joking, another demon shows up, grabs the Tooth Fairy, and drags her off into the nothingness. That's seriously how they kill it. They run into the next room, Corey goes, it's over. And then the movie's over. Or is it? They hinted a sequel because, I mean, this blockbuster, beautiful masterpiece deserves a sequel. It deserves 3 more movies, actually. Corey, all bug-eyed, like a few months later or something, is apparently possessed by the Tooth Fairy because he pulls out this giant-ass tooth on a chain and just stares at it. I guess he got the girl, but he didn't really because he's still possessed. And then the movie ends. Or does... Okay, I'm sorry. We get one more fake-out scene, and it is... I'm just gonna play it. I'm just gonna play it for you guys. What the fuck is this movie, man? Okay, so to recap, Corey the son from the original movie has friends. One secretly hates him and traps him to trick him with a fake Tooth Fairy. At the same time he does that, the real Tooth Fairy comes in and slowly starts to murder all of them. As it goes down, it tries to frame Corey, but they kind of forgot about that plot because nobody really cares. Nobody believes it's Corey. And then Corey and Final Girl band together to summon another demon who takes away Tooth. All this happens, Corey, at the end, somehow is actually possessed by the Tooth Fairy after all, and I guess murders Jess for her teeth. What a movie! That was definitely a movie I have seen now. I don't know, all in all, the story really does not make much sense, like who Paul's cousin was, or why the Tooth Fairy is like haunting him and tricking him and trying to convince people that he's evil, when it never did that to the mom in the first one at all. It was just a cold-blooded killer in the first movie. But you know, at the end of the day, it was pretty funny to try and piece together the story. Now, what was not fun was the myriad of audio issues that the entire movie has. Like the noise suppression throughout the whole movie that made most sound effects gone, the desynced audio, or the actual sound cue that they left in the movie. And you know what the worst part is out of all of this? We're not done. We've still got a whole nother movie to sit through. So let's go see if Tooth Fairy 3, The Last Extraction, looks and sounds just as bad as the second one. Spoiler alert, it does. We open up to two girls laughing at one can assume is a slumber party or like a birthday party. They might be dating. I don't know. Immediately though, I do have to give praise because they fixed the audio issues.
Once summoned, she will not stop and go after all those who dare bring her out her lair.
I can actually hear what they're saying to each other now without some crazy noise suppression in the background. So gotta give a +1 to them for that. This one gives the other lady a gift, which is literally just the book from the last movie, you know, the creepy ass Tooth Fairy book. When she hands it to her, she goes, I know you like black magic, with a weird amount of emphasis on the word black, but we're just gonna skip past that part. But she pulls out the book and immediately starts chanting shit out of the book, because, you know, that's what I do. When I find the Necronomicon, I just start summoning Asmodeus. I don't know. Anyways, we get a fake out. We think it's the Tooth Fairy, but it's actually just her dad coming in, because this movie really likes doing that. And so, you know, she goes outside, she takes out the trash, and she starts noticing something a little peculiar. More candy. What the fuck? How did she do that? Like, actually, how do you cut yourself on a candy cane? Anyways, she starts walking back to the house, and there's this weird, like, candy trail that's leading her into the bathroom. She goes into it, looks into the sink, and there's, like, this weird goop in the sink. I don't know what this is. Her friend comes in and calls it a dead animal, but it's very clearly, like, Jello or some shit. I don't know. They start talking to each other, and then one of them morphs into the Tooth Fairy. What the fuck is that? That is not... That is not the Tooth Fairy from the last movie. I guess they like downgraded the costume from the last movie somehow, because I swear to God, I've seen at least 5 kids wear that same outfit last Halloween. Anyways, Tooth kills Kayla, and then for some reason, the fake Kayla just comes in through the garden door. I don't know how she died in the bathroom, then came in through the garden, whatever. She goes up to her dad and starts chatting mad tings, fam. He follows her, we get this weird toothbrushing shot in the bathroom, then he fucking dies in this weird slow-mo sequence. I don't know, it's just kind of whatever. After he dies, we get the coolest title card sequence I've ever seen in my life. This movie had to have been made in Vegas. I'm like, come on, man. Anyways, we move on to this random field, and hey, man, what the hell? Put those back! After this weird little shot, we cut to a dad and his daughter talking, and we learn that this guy right here is Corey. From the monkey kid from the first movie. So we've had another time skip. This franchise loves time skips. Corey's like 40 now. I don't know. He looks at this like random still from the first movie that like is supposed to be his parents, and he's reminiscing. I get that like this is a new movie and they probably couldn't get the actors back, but like come on, this is very clearly just a shot from the first movie. We watch Corey brush his teeth, so I guess he's over the whole I'm terrified of toothbrushes thing. And also I guess he did murder Jess or whatever, but they just don't really care, because like that scene definitely happened, unless that was a nightmare. But he's not with Jess, he's with some lady named Diane. So, I don't know. Corey and his daughter, Sally, get into this argument over her wanting to, like, go somewhere. I don't know. We don't really get too much before we cut back to Billy Joe Armstrong and his stolen flowers. And he's just at a random dumpster and finds the book from the first movie. He's just walking. This could be set anywhere. He just happens to find the book just in a dumpster. Okay. Yeah, sure. Also, it has a picture of Corey's dad from the first movie for some reason. He's just kind of in there. Keep in mind, this movie is like 30 to 40 years after the original one, and it looks like this photo was taken yesterday. There's no like dirt or anything on the photo. It looks like brand new, you know? Anyways, I guess Corey and his wife are going to be chaperoning the teenager's little getaway thing. That's what their whole argument was about, because apparently she's not mature enough, even though she's 18 in the movie, I think. They like allude that she's 18. She just keeps saying I'm an adult, and he's like, barely. But apparently that's where we're going. Oh wait, no, never mind, we're going to therapy. Okay, so they do actually mention the memories with Jess here, and how he doesn't remember anything that happened. So props to them for actually caring about the plot for like 2 seconds. I think this is the first time they've cared about the plot in any of these movies. Corey apparently has like really bad disassociation, because he doesn't remember anything from 9 to 30. Can you imagine just waking up one day and you're 30 years old? That doesn't happen, right? Anyways, they're driving down the road and pass by what I assume is the Tooth Fairy pointing at them, and then just Sally immediately just starts puking blood, just like everywhere. She's like, which, it's kind of a cool power, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, never mind. It wasn't cool. It was a dream. Sorry. Moving on. They pull up to this nice-ass house, I guess for their, like, vacation getaway thing, and we get introduced to the other people. Toby, him, and her. Also, I just want to point out that Sally walks in like an indie love interest. She walks in like... Hey, guys. It's so mysterious here. Like she's Bella from fucking Twilight. My girlfriend made me watch the first one for the first time like a week ago. It was just as bad as I thought it was gonna be. We go over to the boys' room where Toby and Benny are having an absolute gaff about in it. And Toby pulls out these condoms, and the scene is actually kind of funny.
Benny! Hey?
You realise we're only here for 5 nights, don't you?
So yeah, the whole premise of them like being on this trip is the dudes want to take the women to Pound Town, but they don't want to, the parents are there, they can't really do that, so they're trying to like figure out a way, and that's like the whole soap opera shitty subplot of the movie. Also, there's no shot any of these 4 people are 18. I would be surprised if any of them were under 25, to be honest. Anyways, the kids sneak out in broad daylight, and they're also the only people there other than the parents, so the parents, I guess, are just gonna be like, oh, where'd the kids go? Oh, where'd they go? I guess they're in the bathroom. Where'd the kids go? I like, what do you mean sneak out? They all get to the store and the girls wait outside while the guys go in to sneak some booze with a fake ID, which, can't you drink in the UK when you're like 16? Why do they need a fake ID for this? Anyways, the girls go somewhere and sit down at this table and holy shit, dude. The girls, for whatever reason, decide to take up the homeless man on his offer and buy this strange book from him, and he gives this ominous message where he's like, don't ever read the passages out loud. And I'm like, how does he know? You found this book like 5 minutes ago, man. How do you know that it's evil? Anyways, he leaves and her friend's like, why did you buy that, Sally? Why the fuck would you buy that book? And she's like, don't tell anybody, but I knew it was the secret black magic book to summon the Tooth Fairy. As if the top page that she opens to doesn't say Tooth Fairy summoning at the top. It's like opening a car manual and being like, I think this is a secret book on how to operate a car. Anyways, we cut back to Corey, and to be honest, they did do a good job of getting an actor that looks like an older version of like teenage Corey from the second movie. These guys look pretty similar, I can't lie. But anyways, Diane starts acting strange, so Corey follows her out to this random barn, and she turns around with like lollipops or like needles stuck into her. I don't know. It doesn't matter because Corey wakes up and it's another dream sequence, because, you know, we needed another one of those, and Diane's still alive and well. That scene meant literally nothing. We cut to later and we get this dinner sequence, and I genuinely can't focus on what they're saying because 90% of the audio is just extremely loud forks and knives scraping on the plates. I will spare you from that audio, but holy fuck was it painful. Actually, I'm not going to spare you from the audio.
Chop's alright.
Food okay? Oh, it's really nice.
They cut to Sally watching this video, and I need to go on a little mini tangent here because this is important to me. For this movie to be shot in modern year, that means the first movie was set in roughly the 1980s, because that was about 40 years ago. Which, if you remember, in the first movie, Corey's mom was watching this exact same guy talking about something, which means 2 things in this Tooth Fairy universe. 1, the universe has had YouTube since the 80s, and 2, this guy is like the king of YouTube or some shit because they're still watching his videos 40 years later. Also, I think he's immortal. He looks exactly the same. Now, I know they could just be watching an old video of his, but shut up. This guy gives a really shitty lore drop and basically tells Sally not to use the book. He like almost directly tells her, he's like, guys, I think we really need to let the Tooth Fairy go, and if you have the book right now, please don't read it. It's like he knew. And my favorite little part, the outcome of her watching that video, is she immediately starts reading lines out of the book because her friend Double Dog dares her. She's like, I'm never touching that, ever. I'm never gonna touch that. And her friend's like, what if I dare you? And she's like, okay, I guess I will. Before she can finish the lines, they get pulled out into the hallway where they're trying to rip out Benny's loose tooth. They've had this little mini plot where Benny's tooth has been hurting for the past 20 minutes, so they're just gonna yank it, right? We cut to this fake TikTok video that they're recording, and they slam out Benny's tooth. It scene was so weird. I don't know. Also, apparently now they're camping outside the house they rented, and this house is nice as fuck too. Like, I just go to a different room. I don't know. The guys go outside, and the girls come out a little bit later, ready to get their freak on. But where are the guys? Where'd they go?
Ladies! Oh, ladies! This way!
Oh, ladies! This has to be a parody of the last 2 movies. Like, they're actually on their A game with the comedic timing, whether it be on purpose or not. I don't care. It's kind of funny. Benny pulls out his tooth as an offering, and they start to summon the Tooth Fairy at their little campsite. Sally starts reading off some random shit that's 100% not on that page.
And was written by the witches originally responsible.
And she also starts to read off that when a demon comes back from hell, they come back stronger and with a different appearance, which if you remember, in the last movie, the Tooth Fairy got dragged to hell by a different demon, which means the audacity of these fucking writers, they wrote in a canonical reason why the Tooth Fairy is wearing a different costume now. I don't know if the actual reason is they lost the old costume or what, but that's kind of, you gotta give them props, you know? They start the ritual and start chanting some random shit.
Good nos veritas. Kanda amantos.
Nothing, you know, really happens after they finish chanting, except for this reveal that the Tooth Fairy is back with the, like, shadow. We cut a ways forward, nothing really happens for a little bit, but we do get this absolutely diabolical line.
Is there a mirror in your pants? Because I can see myself in them.
I just have to say they're kind of cooking with these. They get another scene in a little bit where Toby starts getting some major dome from the lady, and we just cut to Benny sitting like 2 inches outside of the tent, just listening to it for way too long. The shot lasts so long, and it's just so funny to look at. Anyways, we cut to next morning. Toby goes off into the woods to go piss, and we get this really long scene where he thinks he's about to get it from his woman again, but it's not. It's the fake. It's the tooth fairy. She fucking stabs him with a candy cane, and now he's dead. Rest in peace, the only funny person in the movie. After this death, we get a lot of dead air again until Corey stumbles upon this random homeless woman, right? And she starts freaking out. You're probably wondering, why is this important? Who is this homeless lady? Just give her a 20 and leave. This homeless woman is Jess. You know, Jess, the woman that he killed in the second movie that he went to therapy for killing in the second movie, right? You remember that, Jess? Yeah, this is her. Apparently, she's alive, and she also took out her teeth so the tooth fairy wouldn't attack her anymore. Cool. We skip through a lot of boring dialogue. They realize Toby is missing, and we get the smallest text box I've ever seen in my life when they display it on the screen. Whatever. They conclude that he's just in town from this minuscule text message. After this, we cut to Jess, and she gets brutally murdered by a chocolate cake, I think. How did she even die here? They do this crazy reveal, and then like 3 minutes later, they just kill her. I'm like, why did they even reveal her? That meant nothing anymore. Anyways, Corey goes into Sally's room and finds the Tooth Fairy book, so, you know, he obviously starts freaking the fuck out, because, I mean, if I found a book about this creature that killed my entire family, then all of my friends like 10 years later, and then I find my daughter has the book, I'd probably start freaking out too. I can't really blame him. But after he starts looking at the book, he starts hearing the voice of the Tooth Fairy from the last movie. After this happens, we hard cut to this, we get a really long, awkward section of dialogue, and the entire time, Benny's just chilling out on the towel. It's so funny, because like, what? Why is this here? Corey gets lost in the woods chasing the Tooth Fairy, and we get the first real shot of it, and is it wearing a Snuggie? I don't know. The costume just got worse. I think he's wearing a Snuggie. I can't tell. Tooth Fairy drops this "I am inevitable" line like Thanos. I am inevitable. And we get this epic fight sequence. Oh, okay, never mind. While all this is happening, Benny's in this random room, and what the fuck? Okay, for some reason, Sally starts coming out of the fridge, and okay, damn! Anyways, she starts trying to seduce him, you know, hitting him with her magic. But before Benny can get his freak on, Tooth comes out and slams this dude through the fridge, which, you know, I kind of feel bad for him, right? Because he thinks Sally just killed him. Because he never actually saw the Tooth Fairy transition. He just saw Sally trying to flirt with him and then dead. Kinda sucks. We skip some more nothingness and we get this standoff between Corey and Tooth in the forest, which goes on for way too long, might I add, before she slams him down and takes a tooth. A singular tooth. And then she's like, I'll be back later. I don't know, we get this weird random shot of Sally drinking water like a 7-year-old after a long game of tag. She's just... And then immediately after she finishes the water, she gets chased down by the Tooth Fairy. You know, she runs up to the closet and we get the big twist. Instead of killing Sally, the Tooth Fairy fucking possesses her. Like full on, Tooth Fairy's in her now. So, no, Sally's a Tooth Fairy now. Her friend comes in and we get this way too long scene of her pouring different sodas into her friend's mouth. Is that a Sprite cranberry? Apparently this somehow kills her, so all that's left now is Corey and Diane. All of her friends are dead, it's just the parents now. And apparently after this it turns back into the Tooth Fairy, so fuck Sally, I guess she's disappeared. We start getting these flashbacks in what feels like the finale of these 3 movies. You know, we start getting Corey trying to reason with it, and then flashbacks to her parents sitting there talking and standing there, and oh my god, we gotta beat the Tooth Fairy, and my camera's gonna die in 7 seconds. As he's arguing, trying to reason with the Tooth Fairy to try to get Sally back, we're getting flashbacks to like his parents from the first one and him with the gun in the second one. And you know, it starts to feel like actually kind of a cool little ending to this 3-part movie franchise. Except it's not a 3-part movie franchise, there's 2 more, so I don't know why they're doing that here. But Corey literally just says Sally come back and the Tooth Fairy disappears and Sally comes back. So I guess that's all he had to do. I don't know, man. There's 5 minutes left of the movie, let's just keep pushing. Sally is still like semi-possessed and starts begging Corey to kill her because she's too strong, and then boom, immediately turns back into Tooth. It's kind of fucked up though. She's like, Dad, please kill me, please. She's too powerful. And I'm like, maybe try something else first, damn. We get this intense sequence of Diane pouring kerosene on them, but we get this juxtaposed with Corey's grandma doing it in the first movie, so it's kind of like a callback to the other movies of them trying to finally kill the Tooth Fairy. Apparently they're both on fire here. You know, if you're looking at the scene and you're like, they don't look like they're on fire. They are. They burn to death, the police show up, Diane is safe, and the Tooth Fairy's finally dead. And that's the end of the movie. or it. We cut to some random dude who apparently somehow acquired the book. They don't really explain how, but I guess he's researching the book and he's trying to get more info. He's calling like the homeless guy and he's like, oh, do you know anything about this book? This is obviously setting up for the next movie for some reason. I feel like they had a really good ending with the Tooth Fairy there. I don't know why they made 2 more movies. They could have ended it perfectly there with the flashbacks and the juxtapositions to the other 2 movies, and it would have been actually pretty decent ending, right? But I guess not. I think it's the finale for Corey and his family, so I think we're gonna follow this researcher in the next movie, but I guess you guys will have to tune in to find out. With Corey and his family out of the picture, how will this researcher tackle the evil demonic Tooth Fairy in Tooth Fairy 4 and 5? Please be better, please be better, please. Anyways, that's all the time I have for this video. My name is Prisk, that's Reggie, that's also Reggie. Don't look at him, and I'll see you in the next video. This is me saying bye, but from behind the camera.